So last week we talked about cleaning out your wagon. If you didn't have an opportunity to look at last Sunday's video, please go back and do so. For those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you stick around every single Sunday. And for those of you who have been rocking with me for some time now, thank you so much for your support. And today is going to be off the chain. I am so excited to be here. And like I said, last week we talked about cleaning out our wagon, putting down things that we were never meant to carry. But here's what I know. Some of you, like me sometimes, put things down and then we go right back and pick them up. And it's because we don't fully feel like we're free without them. So you keep carrying pressure, guilt, shame, responsibility, and the need to get it right. And the reason why I want you to stick around with this video is because I discovered I was still holding on to shame and didn't even know it. So sometimes we think we've done the work and we've let it go. And then we realize, oh my God, like, no, there's more and there's something else. There's another layer. Okay. And this is the part I need you to hear as we're going in the Holy Week this week. For those of you who are believers of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, you don't have to be. And if you are, we are talking about this is so great as we go into this week. And if you're not, it's still great to go into this week, okay? Because some of us are still carrying things that Jesus already carried for us. And, translated for you, carrying things that your God has already carried for you. And if you don't understand that, you'll keep picking up what you've been set free from. And today is one of those days where I kind of want to give you permission to set yourself free because the reminder benefits the believer. And we all need that reminder at times. I don't care how good you are. I don't care, how many business you run. We all need a reminder. So I want to tell you a story about something that I just read recently. I mean, when I promise you, it was so powerful. It really changed me. And it was about a young man. It was a partner book, and it was talking about a young man that was leaving everything he knew to come to America. And his family didn't have much, but what they gave him what they could. So his mom, she packed him as much food as she could, which wasn't a lot, and a little bit of money to set off on his journey. And he has to go on the ship for a month-long trip because that's how they were going to get there, right? So every day when it was time for him to eat, he would go sit by himself in his little cabin and eat the little food that his mother would pack for him. Meanwhile, everybody else was inside at the dining hall, sitting at the table, having these full meals. The food looked great, hot, fresh food. And he has these little packed meals with like cheese and meat, but he never ever went in the room because he thought that he couldn't afford it. And so he just stayed in there eating what he could, right? And so, because of the way he was thinking and what he was thinking, he would look in and he would see them and he would want some of the food. And his stomach was growling and he was hungry, but he would ration off what he had because, again, he thought he couldn't afford it. So, day after day, he would try to eat less and less of the food that his mother gave him because he was running short. This was a month-long trip, and she really only had enough food for him for a week. And so, he would like eat until he was barely eating at all. And then he became hungry, weak, and he was struggling. And finally, it's almost the end of the trip. So the 30 days is almost up. He's barely eating anything and he couldn't take it anymore because the reason why he didn't want to spend the money is because he needed the money for when he got to America to help him to sustain. So finally he went up to someone and he said, listen, how much does it cost to eat? Because like he was starving at this point. And the man looked at him really peculiar and said, it costs nothing. It was included in the price of your ticket. And at that moment, he realized he had been starving. You got to hear this. He had been starving, surrounded by abundance. He had been starving, surrounded by abundance. And many of you are living that right now. You've been given access to peace, to rest, to joy, to a relationship with God, my mentor always says, everything you need is probably already in the room that you are in, but you're starving. You are starving. You're starving, surrounded by abundance, all because you won't ask for help. Or you think the help won't come in the way that you need it, never realizing that sometimes what you think you need is not what you need. And so you're sitting outside trying to make do with what you think. I'm gonna say this, please hear me. Trying to make do what you think you deserve. You're living like it costs something that's already been paid for. And I'm just gonna go, a little deeper here because for me, this didn't just show up as like striving, right? It showed up how I showed up with people. So follow me for a minute. I had no idea. One of the biggest reasons I was people pleasing, being overly nice, not holding my boundaries was because I was still carrying shame from the past. And I'm gonna tell you, right? This is what I was talking about. Where I didn't realize this till I was in therapy. That because of my past, I thought I was too hard, too direct, too strong, and I hurt people. I didn't realize that I swung all the way to the other side. Right. Once I started my walk with God, and even a little bit before that, I swung it. Now I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be flexible, super patient. I'm going to go along, kind of to get along and make sure everybody's okay. I thought that meant I had changed. But but the truth of the matter is I really hadn't. I thought I was healed actually. And I realized I really hadn't. I just adjusted my behavior around the shame, around the shame of how tough I was, never realizing that God built me this way. He gave me every single piece of me to get me to the point where I am now. So sometimes we swing so far to the other side of the pendulum of who we are because we're ashamed of the way we used to be, or ashamed of how we used to act. Meanwhile, here's the thing, that is condemnation. That is not conviction. And yes, God will convict us. Yes, He will correct us. And sometimes, let me tell you something, sometimes that pat on the booty is tough. But He didn't do it so we were built to live in shame. He did it so that we can understand that that is not of Him. And if we're made in His image, in His likeness, that is not becoming of who we were made to be. So we get to move forward with His grace, mercy, and love, not from a place of shame, but from a place of understanding. That yes, that is some of the things that you were built as a part of your identity, He could use for His good, but it was never meant to use and hurt other people. That's the difference. And I'm telling you, which you, like some of us just need to hear, the enemy will plant shame and then use it to keep it alive, right? And so what I mean by that is I talked about this a little bit last year. The enemy will plant that mustard seed, that one little mustard seed, and we'll keep watering it. I need people to hear this today. You listen, our past, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, we are meant to learn from it. We're meant to glean from it. We're not meant to use that as a marker to keep holding us down and back. See, some of that bullish behavior that you had, that was a part of your personality, is needed in a world full of bullies. Well, we have to stand up now and say no, that we have to stand up and say what's wrong in this world. We have to stand up for what we believe in this world. Stand up and say, no, there is great love out here. We have to stand up and say, no, there is great people out here. No, we have to stand up and say, you know what? We don't have to follow along with what the masses is doing. We don't have to be worldly. Like you can literally use that bullishness in you for the kingdom. Okay. And not to bully people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that gives you a level of confidence and toughness. So you can, when you get knocked down, you can get back up again. But see, the enemy will give it to you. The enemy will have you thinking, no, it's something that was wrong. And so then you'll start overcompensating, overgiving, overextending, overexplaining. How many times have you done it? And then we call this growth, but it's not growth. It's not growth at all. It's actually holding you back. It's actually holding yourself into bondage, because what will then happen is, you will lose yourself in all of that. Boundaries are a beautiful thing. Boundaries keep other people safe, I say. My boundaries keep other people safe. They're a beautiful thing. They are a beautiful thing. And no one should be walking all over you. No one should be treating you any kind of way. You shouldn't be giving anybody the shirt off your back if you don't have a few shirts. And let me tell you what I mean by that. So many of us want to talk about giving, but you can't, if you don't have anything, if you're poor, if you're broke, you can't give from that place. You can't give because you will be given to get back. But if you take the time to build you up, build your, because poverty is a mindset. Okay, build your mind, build your heart, build your spirit, start saving, so investing in yourself. And listen, when you talk about, and somebody in my community, we talked about this too, when you talk about saving, that's a form of investing in yourself, that's a form of loving yourself. I didn't realize that, I had to learn it. But as I learn and I do, I teach. And then what I don't do is live in shame because I don't have what I think and I thought I should have had. No, I had to go and learn. But the result of all of that, when you swing to the other side of the pendulum is you lower your you don't listen, you lower your standards. And first of all, a lot of us are living so below our standards. There's no boundaries. You silence the part of yourself because you shrink it down. You don't use your voice because there is something good about that powerful voice. Now, you don't have to cuss people out, okay? Because I'm telling you right now, I don't have to say one curse word, but I promise you, you will know what I mean because I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And I can say it in such a way that I don't have to, demean you to get my point across. Okay. But most importantly, you stop showing up fully. You stop showing up for your purpose, your calling. God can't use you fully if you shut enough parts of you that he needs. I promise you, he needs that part you don't think he needs because you're trying so hard not to be who you used to be. But I need you to hear me clearly. You don't need to punish the past version of you to prove you've changed. You don't. As a matter of fact, it doesn't work. That inner child that you keep beating her down. Growth doesn't require shame to sustain it. All parts of you matter. Your voice, discernment, your boundaries, your emotions, because what's going to happen is it's going to keep you stuck if you don't free yourself. If you do not free yourself, it's going to keep you stuck to a place you no longer have to live in, you no longer have to be. And as we go on the Holy Week, I just want to offer you something simple because I realize sometimes I do this video and it's a lot, right? And everybody else is, you're listening to so much content. It's not that I want you to add something, I want you to do something a little bit different because I don't believe my job is not to change your mind. My job is to help you to get curious, to shift possibly, right? So there is a moment in the time in the Bible when they talk about Mary and Martha. Okay. And if you don't know that story, you can go read it. At this point, you can chat GPT anything. Okay. But Martha is very busy. Jesus came to visit. And Martha is busy. Martha is like, I gotta, I'm moving, I'm preparing, I'm making sure there's enough food. She just moving and moving and moving, making sure the house is clean, making sure them kids, okay, all they mess. She's cleaning up all the children's messes for my mother's, right? Cleaning. And think about how many times somebody getting ready to come to your house, you're getting ready to have maybe Christmas dinner, Easter dinner, or whatever. You cooking, you preparing, you clean, and listen, and you doing all of this. And then Mary is just sitting. Mary is just sitting at the feet of Jesus. She's not fixing anything. She's not trying to prove anything. She's just there. And Martha is frustrated. How many times have you been frustrated because you're doing everything? And sometimes the kids, sometimes the spouse, sometimes your friends and your family just sitting. Because Mary isn't helping with anything, she's not carrying, she's just sitting there receiving. And I think for a lot of you, you've been Martha for so long. I know I have been for so long, always doing everything, holding it all together, keeping things moving, doing what needs to be done. It has to look right. It has to feel right. It needs to be perfect. And it's heavy. And it's heavy. But what if just for this week? I'm not telling you to do it forever because I know some of my Marthas is like, girl, if I don't do it, it won't get done. I hear you. I hear you. So I'm not asking you to do something for a lifetime today. I'm asking you, what if just for this week though, you chose a moment to kind of just sit for a minute, sit with God, sit with your God, sit at the feet of Jesus for those of you who are believers, and just listen to what it is that he has to say. Just get still, just get quiet. Don't respond. Turn your phone off. This week for Holy Week, I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. You can join me if you would like. I am actually going to be fasting and praying the whole week. And so when I fast, I'm doing a liquid fast. I'm going to say water, but sometimes I might have to go for that coffee probably about the fourth day. I don't know, but I'm going to say water. And I'm going to be fasting and praying all week long, not just to hear the word of God, but just to come back into me. Because again, we listen to so much content and so many other people's voices, all day, every day. What would it look like just to listen to the voice of you, just you and God, right? For a week. Just try it for a week. Don't fix anything. Listen, put everybody on notice today. I'm not fixing it. I'm not changing it. Don't call me, call the Lord or whoever you believe in. Don't try to smooth anything over. Don't try to be there for anybody, because people will call you because they think that what's going on in their life is an emergency. It doesn't have to be an emergency for you. Don't make yourself responsible for how everything turns out, for how everybody turns out. And listen, even them kids, okay? If you need to get you a babysitter, whatever it is that it takes, just to give you a moment, just to sit. It's not gonna feel good. It's not going to it's gonna probably give you a little bit of anxiety. And then your mind is gonna start to wonder. This is why, for me, fasting for 7 days, well, it's gonna be six, because I'll break my fast on Easter Sunday with my family. But this sitting, and actually I'm going to be praying for the women that are coming to my retreat, praying for what the Lord has for me, for them, praying for how he wants me to usher in, praying for what it is that they he may want me to impart onto them. So I'm going to be doing all of that as well. So for me, it's just me and God. Who, what, where, when, why, and how, Jesus. They say that how is not your business. It is up to God. And I ask God questions. Whoever said that you don't question God, that don't even make no sense. How is it that we have a father that don't want us to ask him questions? How is it that we have a father that don't want us? He desires relationship with us, but he don't want us to ask him any questions. Y'all please miss me with that stuff. And I know we got it from the old folk. The old folk didn't know any better. Now when we know better, we do better. I sit with Jesus and I ask him questions all the time. I may not like his answer. Glory be to God. I may not like his answer, but I'm going to listen. I may not like his answer, because sometimes his answer looks like, me not being with somebody anymore. Sometimes his answer looks like, don't give your kids no more money. Sometimes his answer look like, stop rescuing them, because now you in my business. I told you to plant the seed. I didn't tell you to plant it, turn up the soil, water it. I didn't tell you to do all that. Get out of my way. I may need you to plant a seed to put something on their heart, but it's my job to change their heart. It's my job to change their mind. Okay? It's my job to renew, not yours. And sometimes I have a tendency, I'm going to admit it, to really ride with people. Like, I got you. But God is saying, I need them to lean on me. Even your children, your grown children. We're not talking about the babies. Let's not go crazy here. We're talking about them babies. But some of them babies need some responsibility too, okay? It's okay for them to wash a dish or three. Okay? So, but I say that to say, what if this week you just did that? Just this week. Listen, I'm not telling you to do 6 days with me. What if you just took one day? What if you just gave yourself one day, not to fix it, not to show up for everybody, not to listen to everybody's content, just you and God? Because I'm going to say this before I go. I know who I'm talking to. I know I'm talking to the one who holds it all together. Don't drop the ball, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't drop no balls. Like, that is just my mind. Like, you don't miss a step, you don't miss a beat. And because of all that, you don't realize how much you carry. Sometimes, because you've been doing it for so long, it becomes your norm. You're busy, you're shaking, you're moving, you do that. It's norm. It's your normal. So it don't feel that heavy until it comes a point in time your body says, okay, no more. So just this week, I'm not trying to tell you to change everything. What if you just took a moment? Because I know sometimes when we look like a week, oh my God, that's too much. Okay, cool. Give me 2 hours. Give me an hour. It's just a moment where you normally would pick something up. Don't do it. Don't fix it. Don't stop trying to fix everybody's problems. Just sit. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Because in the one moment, I'm going to tell you, in that one moment, you're going to feel freedom. I'm telling you, you'll feel what freedom actually feels like when you do that. That's freedom. When you put down everybody else's burdens. I talked about that last week. You got to lay everybody's burdens down. God didn't ask you to pick everybody's burdens up. Where did you get that from? Who told you that? He didn't tell you to pick up everybody's slack and everybody's this. He did not tell you to do that. But if you allow yourself that this week, you're gonna feel what freedom feels like. And I'm gonna tell you, once you get a little taste of it, because once I got a little taste of it, I was like, oh, all right, I'm good. I'm not doing that no more. Because the price has already been paid. That's what listen, not, Jesus already paid the price for us. We don't have to carry anything. But you have to be willing, I'm gonna say this, you have to be willing to stop long enough to believe and receive what he has for you. I can say anything. You know, I talked about that with my community this week. You can read all the books you want. You can go all the church you want. You can do whatever it is. But if you don't believe that in you, if you don't believe what God can do through you, for you, if you don't believe, it stops there. It stops there. You got to believe that where you are today, you will not be tomorrow. You have to believe that you could do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You have to believe that when God starts a project, he finishes it. When God starts a project, he finishes it. He who begun a good work in you, it shall be done. But you have to believe it though. And he's not asking you to have big belief. He said, I just the size of a mustard seed. And if I held up a mustard seed, you wouldn't be able to see it. He's talking about mustard seed faith, mustard seed belief. Just that small. He just needs you to believe. I don't care what it is. If you don't believe that that marriage is going to work, if you don't believe that there's a good man out there, if you don't believe that your child is going to be successful, it's a belief. I promise you. Like sometimes I get down. Please don't get this twisted because I'm not perfect. But I believe what the Lord showed me. I believe my husband is out there. I believe he's preparing a great man for me as he's preparing me for him. I believe that my children are going to be more successful than me. I believe that my grandmother is going to get to see me to speak on that stage one day. I believe in everything that God has set forth for me. I believe in his vision of what he's going to have me to do in the room with those women. I believe. I'm not saying there's sometimes that I don't feel down. I'm not saying there's sometimes I don't get shaken because the enemy does come like a flood, okay? Yes, I get shaken sometimes, but I still believe. You gotta believe. You gotta be willing to stop long enough, to get quiet long enough, to sit in that moment so you believe. Okay? And if this hits you, if you decide or that you're going to do the fast this week, let me know. We're doing a corporate fast with my mentor. That's for 3 days, but I'm going to continue on until Saturday, and I'll break my fast on Sunday for Easter Sunday. For those of you who, are going into Holy Week, I hope you prepare. I hope it's a wonderful week for you. Please, just take a moment. If you can't take a week, how about this? Take a day. If you can't take a day, take an hour. If you can't take an hour, take a few minutes. Okay. I love you because this is where freedom begins. And I just want you to be free. All right. Because God has already paid the price. Grace, mercy, love all week long. Be all of you. Know that you are beautiful. All emotions matter. If Jesus can flip a table, if you flip one in your past, you still all right. All right. I love y'all. I'll talk to you next week. Bye now.